Right now, we'll be back from that particular break as we go through what is happening through the different world of business. And speaking of which, we shall be definitely giving you more of those updates. Now, this particular moment, let's get an update coming in this particular morning from the Capital Markets Amendment Act, and which was tabled by Honorable Nathan Igeme Nabeta, who is the MP for Jinja South East constituency, and we'll definitely be coming back to give you more of the updates in this amendment in the Capital Markets Act of 2022. Let's have it.
There is not so much that what is wrong with the current law, and one of the constants in life is that everything changes, and with the technological advancements which are happening rapidly, the laws need to change to catch up with the times. So there's nothing wrong with the law, it's just that we're trying to enhance it. One of the things that we would want to enhance and actually correct, in the 2011 amendment, they had given the right to scrutinize prospectuses to the listing entity, which is the licensed. In 2016, that was moved, and some powers of that were given to the regulator, which sometimes we thought, from what I've seen, is that it causes some of the, the confusion we were seeing. That some people wondering who is the one in charge of scrutinizing prospectuses. So in this amendment, we are trying to enhance that. When it comes to releasing, to scrutinizing prospectuses, it should be a listing authority, not the regulator. That way, the regulator will now play the role of regulator to oversee the players in the field. For example, when you look at the Financial Conduct Authority, which would be the equivalent of the one in the UK, which oversees 51,000 financial firms in the UK. If you looked at that from a Uganda's perspective, a regulator would have a hard time trying to oversee 51,000 players in the field if they were doing such detailed work. So a regulator should focus on the conduct of the people in the sector and allow the people to play. That's where we're just trying to enhance. Have different mandates. The Bank of Uganda is an arm of government which is dealing with the licensing of banks. Besides the policies they have to make, the fiscal policies to manage the economy. So Bank of Uganda deals with that sector. Capital Markets Authority deals with securities, which are not prudential. They mostly deal with securities. Okay. So the difference is that Capital Markets deals with a different sector than what Bank of Uganda does. They have some similarities where banks are dealing in securities, in treasury bills and bonds, buying the treasury bills and bonds from Bank of Uganda in the primary market. But that one is an arrangement whereby you must be still, even though you're a bank, you must be approved by CMA to be able to go into securities. Okay. Yes, so you can be licensed by Bank of Uganda and you can be licensed by CMA to do separate activities as a financial arm. Okay. That we allow the players to play. It's a small market. If you look at Uganda, which I think started in 1997 when the CMA was passed, Uganda Securities Exchange came in and they have around 20 securities, about 20 securities. Kenya, which came in 1954, I think they have about 70 securities. Kenya is a bit busier than Uganda, but the markets are still very small. And it is my view that Uganda has an opportunity to be a financial hub for the region. We have that opportunity. We would have to leverage that on good regulatory environment, on the right technology, on being able to embrace technology, the current technology, and of course the third one is to have a good taxation regime. That's now that one is beyond the law. So what we're trying to do now is that once the regulator is able to allow the players in the market to play play then, and they focus on where, as you remember in my presentation, I said that if you look at the IOSCO principles, which is the International Organization of Security Commissions, where all these, even the big commissions like the Security Exchange Commission of the US, the SEC, which monitors the biggest market in the world, that's the biggest sector in the world. Then, of course, I've told you the FCA. For them, they all embrace the principles of IOSCO, which is the regulator allows the players to play, and for them, they oversee the players. And that's why if you have a ref in the game, they will say, hey, they will warn you. One, they will give a yellow card, another they will give a red card, and some they will even be banned, depending on the offenses you've done. So if you're a regulator, you are a better regulator when you are seeing from that angle. And so that's what we are trying to look at, is that they allow the sector to grow quickly, especially because of the technological advantages which are coming, which are going to change a lot of the way we've done things in the past. See, all this we do for the people. And so if anybody thinks you're attacking somebody, because all this we do for the public, we do all this in the interest of the people. I would love to see my wananchi, someone who has 10,000 shillings, 20,000 shillings, participating in the market. Why is it that 20 million people who have mobile money accounts, why don't they participate in the economy? Why can't they be also directly buying some treasury bills and bonds and actually participating in some of the infrastructure projects? So definitely no, it is not attacking anybody. We are working for the same people. I am in NRM. We are working for the NRM manifesto, and we want to extend to widen to allow the wananchi to participate in the economy. And as they participate, by the way, in them participating in such a level of even if they are, say, 10, 20 million people are putting 10,000 shillings in just to buy some securities and what locally, that also strengthens the Uganda shilling. So there's no way you would say, if I was attacking someone for, where it is not for the people, then it's different. But why don't we have products where Ugandans can actually invest in hydro dams? In the Entebbe Expressway, where you saw what happened. But now for Jinja Kampala Expressway, why can't we now have Ugandans investing it through securities? So you take your 100,000 shillings and you invest. And actually it is part of the investment. So the securities market can play a lot in raising money to run some of the parts of government that you see government is struggling to raise money. And they're also looking at the same ways of raising money. Now, if Ugandans can actually be able to participate in that, then it will be good. So no, we are only working for the same Ugandans. Okay. Definitely, I'm looking at my top picks, as I've said, is FCA, the Financial Conduct Authority of UK. Definitely, I would love to do that. I want to look at Mauritius. Why Mauritius has been a successful country within the region to attract international securities. You even see that in Uganda, a lot of the companies which are working in Uganda are registered in Mauritius. That's because of the environment they've created. Of course, besides the regulatory, they have really put in a lot of effort on the taxation. Then Singapore. I also want to look at Singapore. The fourth choice would be, of course, the ACC, the US, because of the sheer size of how they've been able to foster innovation. So those are the four areas we would recommend to look at. For now, of course, I can't project exactly. Right now, you have very few. Besides the few organizations and institutional investors in the country, there are very few people below that who are in the securities in Uganda. And that's why you would see that on the Uganda Securities Exchange, you have so far only 8 companies listed locally. 8 companies listed locally, and then you have about 10 cross-listed Kenyan companies, which are cross-listed from the Nairobi Stock Exchange in the Uganda Stock Exchange. So around 18 companies only. that are available in Uganda, but 8 hours, only 8. And for us, the vision would be, it should at least be 1,000. Now, because of the technology opportunities, if you go to the ICT hub, the National ICT hub in Nakawa, and the kind of software those kids are developing and what, now, if they had a good security system around them, which can actually help them, like the ones which helped the Netflix, the Mark Zuckerbergs of Facebook, it can even help them. Not only they invest, but they even give you the go-to-market strategy and expertise to take your products into the market. So that is the advantages of what securities investors can actually bring to the table to spur innovation. So the contribution for now has been limited to those few. Besides, of course, the constant treasury bills and bonds, which the Treasury puts out in Bank of Uganda every month. Ugandans need to learn to actually invest in this way. There's a lot of education that needs to go in sensitizing people, and for them to trust that actually you can invest within your country. You can buy your treasury bills and bonds in your own country. You can buy, you can take stakes in infrastructure projects in your own country. So one of the things we need to do is to show them that not everybody who has some money has to go into land. You can actually invest in other things which can actually give you wealth. As I've told you before, if let's say Ugandans invested in a hydro dam, you would see the kind of wealth that comes out of investing in a hydro dam. It would beat any most real estate project that you can come up with. But because there has been a little bit of trust or understanding, most people have not been able to participate in that. So one of the things we want to do is to create an environment where people can actually have the desire to invest in that sector.
A 2-week leave granted to Honorable Nathan Igeme Nabeta on that particular amendment of the Capital Markets Authority Act. Now, in 2016, it was last amended, and during that time, the law introduced ISCO, which is the International Organization of Securities Commission, and as well as the principles in there. Now, ISCO has principles for the enforcement of securities regulation for collective investment schemes and those relating to clearing and settlement. And once it is amended, still, we shall be giving you more of those particular details regarding that particular engagement in there and that particular amendment. So when you look at some of the issues regarding the act, apparently, in making laws to regulate the securities and capital markets, the law, according to some people do believe it should follow the ISCO stipulations, which also include subsequent, if you to look back in 2017, Capital Markets Authority of Uganda was admitted by the Global Security Standards Setter International Organization of Securities Commission, that is ISCO, as a signatory to the Appendix A of the ISCO Multilateral Memorandum of Understanding. So ever since the capital markets were admitted in ISCO, the Capital Markets Authority law, the regulations and ideological orientation which officials at the Capital Markets Authority regulate doesn't really conform to the international obligations, according to a few of the readers here in regards to this. And of course now Honorable Nathan Igeme Nabeta will be definitely looking through the situations regarding the amendment of this particular Capital Markets Act 2022. Okay, away from that, let's look at more of the updates that are coming up today in the world of business as we are summing up with the show. As of today, the Lord Mayor of Kampala, Arias Lukwago, will engage with top city leaders on crisis in public markets and the Kampala City Council Authority budget. That is, if you're to look at the Kampala City KCCA budget cuts, with all this is going to be happening, and it has already started off at the Kampala City Hall Mayor's Pala. Among the key discussions is the top city leaders in the MAC on the KCCA budget cuts. Then there's also an issue on the markets, in the public markets in the capital. That has been a very big issue across the region and of course across the entire Kampala City. Just a few weeks back, when you look at the situations regarding KCCA taking over the management of all the public markets within the city, and then also some other issues regarding the markets in the public markets management. For example, the stakeholders, the management, the top office management, and then secondly, the other crisis happening with, let's say, health matters, health-related matters like cleanliness in there, and also rent areas from those who are actually renting in the markets. And of course, there's also been some wrangles within the people who are actually operating in the markets, whereby some other people want to have more space in the markets, even when they're not using them, while the others are left with no option but to vacate the various markets. So those are some of the issues that the Kampala City Council Authority is going to address, or what the Lord Mayor Arias Lukwago is engaging the top city leaders currently now at the City Hall Mayor's Parlor. Now then also, they will be looking at the budget cuts to at least try to finance Kampala City Council Authority's budget till the year comes to an end, as we are moving into the second quarter of the financial year. So these are some of the things that need to be identified steadily. Well, besides that, as we look at the other key updates that will be coming up shortly in today's programming, and also being summed up in tonight's Bulletin Business Today, we get to look at the issue to do with curbing the crisis in public transport. When you look at Kampala City Council Authority, today in the press review, we had something to do with streamlining the border industry. And surprisingly here, and the figure that none of us would wish to hear, is that according to the key rate of productive Ugandans due to border disorder is now over 50% within the capital, with Kampala City Council Authority reporting that 40 bodies a day are reported at the city mortuary, and out of these 40, they are all related to border accidents. 40 dead bodies a day, average. So that clearly shows you why we need to be very cautious while moving on borders every day. So your border guy, the border riders should be very cautious while moving throughout to beat the traffic in one way or the other. They should know where to pass and where not to pass. They should follow the traffic rules as well, the traffic lights. That is something most of the border riders never follow. And of course, I also gave you some of the figures in regards to the less numbers of driving permits, whereby 94% of the border riders operating within the city, 94% of those don't have permits to ride borders. And then also those up to 94%, huge number. Then we have 73% of those with no logbooks but still operating within the city. And then we've got those with no PSV license. That is 98% of those. And then we have 234 borders without border riders without national IDs, without a sense of identity within the city. And then only 157 borders met all the requirements to operate in public transport within the city. That means also those operating under the border apps, the likes of Uber, SafeBorder, Bolt, all those are also falling under the same crisis. One would call it the same category that we need to see where KCCA wants to implement more and more. Well, besides the other updates that we've had for you in the show today, is that the Prime Minister, Right Honorable Robin Anabanja, is in Japan, Tokyo to be precise. That is the capital, on a 4-day visit, just after President Yoweri Museveni was on a 4-day visit last week in Hanoi, that's the capital of Vietnam, still discussing more of the investment opportunities, trade, discussing imports and exports, and creating room for at least a wider market for Uganda's exports. Those are some of the key discussions that you will definitely be expecting. Now, of course, as well, along this week, we do expect to have the Uganda Democratic Republic of Congo Trade Symposium that will be on November 30th, which is definitely going to be bringing in together quite a number of investors from both countries, Uganda and the DRC. Public and private sector players are all going to be in this particular one. This is the Karibu East Africa Presidential, which will also be shaped up with the Karibu East Africa Presidential Awards. So some of the other key highlights that are coming up this very week. So those are some of the things that you should be ready to understand as the business world is transitioning and changing day in, day out. So that and more is what we do expect this week. The week has quickly started off. It is the 28th of November. And by the end of the week, we shall already be in the month of December. Of course, November left with only 2 days. Thursday will be 1st December. And for a business community, it's time for you to at least do some auditing, go back through a review, and see how you've been performing throughout the entire month as you get ready for the month of December, and as well as you prepare for what is yet to be a fruitful 2023. 1 month to go to say goodbye to the year 2022. We may not have been able to achieve what we thought we would achieve, but of course thankful to the few and the little we've achieved so far, and beyond that, thankful for the life. I will leave you with the SMB no comment, but as of now, Smart Means Business comes to an end. Have a blessed day. Good morning.
Our purpose as a company is connecting people and improving lives. Anything that improves lives is dear to our heart. We are also committed to reducing our carbon footprint. As by 2050, we should be having zero carbon footprint within the business, and this is part of our commitment. Removing plastic waste is also a way of reducing carbon footprint. When I got into the country, I saw that everywhere in Uganda we have lots of plastic waste all over the whole street, in the drain and everywhere. So it is our ambition to keep a safe environment, and the only way we can contribute is through our ESG, is to remove plastic waste and look for companies like Coca-Cola that has recycling plant and that's also global multinational to actually liaise with to recycle the waste. It is my hope that this will serve as an inspiration to other multinationals who also believes in improving the environment to join the cause of removing plastic waste from the street of Kampala. Thank you.
Today what DHL has done is a very commendable effort to show their attitude towards PET waste collection. We've always partnered with DHL in various initiatives, but today's is really a trailblazer. What we've done today is partner with them in PET waste collection, which shall be under the umbrella of our very aggressive ambition to drive a world without waste, which is our global ambition as Coca-Cola beverages. But more importantly, within that, we like to incorporate women empowerment, economic inclusion, and waste and water management. Uganda is naturally endowed. Our environment is by far one of our greatest assets. As a manufacturer of beverages with PET components, I think it's by far one of our biggest achievements to say that we have been collecting 85% of waste that we have been, versus our production. I think that's a very big achievement, and I think that goes to show our ethos towards inclusivity with the women we partner with in this, our concerns of the environment, and as we continue to refresh Africa every day and make our continent a better place, it is our hope that we shall get other partners like DHL to partner with us in PET waste collection, management and recycling. Well, I would implore other organizations to come to the fore. We have a plastic recycling industry in Nakawa, where we collect and sort out plastic waste and recycle the waste into cold flakes. We look forward to getting more partnerships that are driven towards these environmental concerns, incorporating the women empowerment agenda, economic inclusivity, waste and water management.